What's goody, y'all? My name is Eli Blassie. We are here for Hood Translations of the Bible. We are, of course, going to be starting at Genesis chapter 15. This video, I'm going to try and do 15, 16, and 17. You know, I usually do about 2 chapters. But I'm going to try and do 3 this time, just because these chapters are kind of short. So of course, last time we left off, we talked about Melchizedek meeting Abraham. Ooh, no. So his name was Abram. Yeah, Abram Most High. All right, so yeah, it's meeting Abram, but of course the subtitle says Abraham, but he has not been deemed Abraham by God yet. Anyhow, this was of course talking about him going to fight the kings that took over Sodom and Gomorrah after they had stolen Lot, his brother, and whatnot. Kidnapped Lot, sorry. So yeah, we're going to, of course, start with chapter 15, Genesis chapter 15, and the subtitle of this one is called Abraham's Vision, or Abram's Vision, because I don't think he's been called Abraham yet. But also, too, before we even get into it, I always gotta remember, if you linked up with the Has-Been Hotel or with the Mighty Nine, and you can get me in the voice actor room. That's all I need. Link me. Have your people contact me. That's all I need. Without further ado, though, let's get into it. Like I said, Genesis chapter 15, subtitled Abraham's Vision. Verse 1. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. Verse 2. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus. I don't actually know which one it is, but like I said, that's neither here nor there. Verse 3. And Abram said, Behold to me, thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. Verse 4. So basically, and let me actually embellish upon that. I don't actually know what word was I trying to use. Let me divulge into that. Anyhow, let me explain that. So he says, and lo, one born in my house is heir. So essentially, I'm pretty sure that means no one born in my house is of heir. And so, like, lo and behold, essentially. So, lone one born in my house is mine heir. He's saying also, like, adhere, none of them that were actually born in this house. And of course, remember, as I was telling you about Abram and Lot, the house essentially entails everybody. The maidservants, the male servants, the goats, the cattle, everything. He was saying, well, of course, right here, he's only talking about the people. But he says, lone one born in my house is mine heir. So no one born here is actually my child. So, like, what you're giving me all this greatness, but who am I going to pass it down to type? That's essentially what is given. Verse 4. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. That's essentially him promising, like, I know you, I think Abram old at this point. But essentially, just like he had told Adam when he was old, and he was 90. And, no, he was 100. I think Eve was like 90. Anyhow, regardless. And he was like, who having a kid? I'm old. He said, yeah, you finna bear a child. He's literally telling him right now, don't worry about that. None of these are your heir. Correct. I'm not forsaking you. You're going to have an heir out of your own bowels. You're going to have to plant the seed in order for your heir to pop out, because that's what I need for you. Verse 5. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. So that's also giving reference back into, it was chapter 14, I think, verse 22. No. Take 118 pursued. Should it say? Save unto which man? Ooh, it might be after chapter 13. It is. It's chapter 13. I'm so sorry. Da, 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 da. Chapter 13, verse 16. And he said, and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, that he shall see also be numbered. That's crazy, because I don't know why I felt like I messed up when I actually read that verse in the last video and assumed it meant the stars. But this is essentially a similar covenant with him. He says, hold on, I'm sorry, I got lost. 15 and 5. He says, and he brought him forth abroad. Look now towards the heaven and tells the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto them, so shall thy seed be. So once again, this is giving a reverence to the multitude of generations he's going to bless him upon. And of course, the stars are plentiful, multitudinous. I feel like that's a word, but I feel like I'm using it wrong. But anyhow, it's plentiful, just like the grains of dust, the sands of dust in which he was talking about. There are so many in there that if you are able, as many as you are able to number, that's how much of a wealth of a generations I'm going to lay upon you. And of course, give your seed. So, verse 6, and he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. 7, and he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. 8, and he said, Lord God, hereby shall I know that I shall inherit it. And he said unto him, take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. 10, and he took unto him all these, and divided them into the midst, and laid each piece against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going up, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with a great substance. What verse is that? 13. Alright, great substance. 15. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation thou shalt come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. 18. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river of the Euphrates. The Kenites and the Kenzanites, and the Cadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, 21. And the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Gargashites, and the Jebusites. So before we even hop into 16, I want to give reverence to chapter 15, verse 15. He says, and thou shalt go, verse 13, And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. I don't care what y'all say, that's given to me. I feel like black people the most. And I feel like he's telling them they are going to be most blessed. Because literally he says, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. Africans was brought to America, a land that's not theirs. It wasn't the Americans either. Let's start there. But that's not even that conversation right now. Right now, we just gonna get onto that. To a land that was not theirs. He then also says, and shall serve them. We were serving the white people, although against our will. We were serving them. and they shall afflict them 400 years. Slavery lasted 400 years. Like, it's given full reference. It's coming full circle. That's all I'm saying. I feel like as much we just ain't really actualized our powers yet. Some of y'all ain't tapped in. I feel like I'm close to it. I'm close to the tap. I might be able to shock by the end of this week. Y'all keep messing around. Let me stop. Let me stay end of the month, because I ain't been doing everything I need to do this week. But that's, like I said, just giving reference to one. Oh, and then also, too, I want to highlight, if we go into verse 19, it says the Kenites and the Kenzanites and the Cadmonites. I'm, to be honest, as much as since I know in actuality the Bible started in Africa, and of course then we also talk about in verse 18 right above it, it says, in the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the rivers of Egypt unto the great rivers of the river Euphrates, all Africa. So, to be honest, when it says the Kenites and the Kenzanites, it's giving Kenya to me. Look, y'all might pop up in the comments later on, do some actual divulging, some actual research, and prove me wrong and not. I'm not stating that fact, that basis on no knowledge I actually know. I'm just saying it seems like we in the room. Ooh. Hold on. I'm so sorry, y'all. I gotta call you back. Give me a second. Sorry, y'all. That was my friend. I gotta call her back now. But anyhow, that's what it's giving for chapter 15. So now, let's hop into 16. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. Verse 4, and he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. Verse 5, and Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee. Verse 6, but Abram said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it please thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. Before we even hop into this, I really didn't like this, because it was giving so essentially what's happening. Sarai said, I can't bear any children anymore. So in order for you to still have an heir and a seed, I want you to go into, which basically means to have sex with my maid and whatnot. And then essentially after she had conceived, she got jealous. I'm not even, as much as it says specifically, says that she had conceived. Oh, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. She was jealous. She was mad at the mistress for actually having her baby, even though she had literally told her to have the baby. We're not even going to get into that discussion. As much as I could talk on that, we're not even going to get into that, because that's going to lead into a lot of colloquial nowadays items and whatnot. But then, also then, like, Abram was just like, yo, do with her as you please. Like, he didn't really care. And it's like, the nonchalantness really got me. I was just like, as much as I get that's not your wife, at the end of the day, y'all didn't use this girl. Y'all done made her conceive for you. I feel like now y'all owe her. Like, in my mind, yes, you owe her now. It's the same with, like, surrogates. Like, you owe me while I'm having this baby of yours. It might not be mine's after, but, well, technically, yes, it is now after. But, again, she didn't have a choice. It wasn't like they was paying her for the medical bills and everything now. She ain't had a choice. So, yes, I feel like y'all still needed to take care of her and do her. But, anyhow, verse 7. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the ways to shore. So this is, of course, once Hagar had left Sarai and Abram, because Sarai was being so hard on her and whatnot. Verse 8. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence camest thou? Whence camest thou? And whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. Whence camest thou means like, where did you come from? So whence, of course, is like where. And then whither wilt thou go? Where will I go? Simple explanations. Verse 9. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, return to thy mistress and submit thyself unto her hands. I get, we're actually getting to that in a minute. Verse 10. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren, and he shall call the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeked me? Wherefore the well was called Beer-lahai-roi, sorry. Behold it in between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar here bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son name which Hagar bare Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram. 80, so a score is a period of 20 years. So 80 is of course 80, and then 6 years. So he was 86 when he bare Ishmael. So what was I finna get into? Oh, when the angel told her to go back. To be honest, yes, I'm hard-headed, but I ain't going back. I get you telling me it's of course going to multiply, which I believe, yes, he did end up multiplying Ishmael, but I still believe then, which we're going to, of course, get into, Sarah ended up bearing him a son, and I believe that he multiplied him still greater than Ishmael. So what was the point of going through all that? Why am I going through all the trials and tribulations? And of course y'all gonna be like, oh, well, you're not supposed to question God and whatnot. No, I got some questions, because I didn't have to do all this. Like, they told me first and foremost to bear his son, and now I didn't bear it, and I'm hated. I'm getting casted out. That's neither here nor there. Not too much on that. Let's hop into chapter 17 real quick. Verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared unto Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me, and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham, even though he's still Abram at this point. But anyhow, keep going. Verse 5. Neither shall thy name anymore be Abram. Oh, and there we go. But thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. Boom. Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Abraham. Verse 6. And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, and the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said unto Abram, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant with this, which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seeds after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. And and he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generation. He that is born in the house or bought with money of strangers, of any stranger which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that so shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant. And God said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarai that is 90 years old bear? And Abram said unto God, O that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarai thy wife shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And for Ishmael I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear with thee at this set time in the next year. And he left off walking with him, and God went up from Abraham. 23. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in the house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the same day, as God had said unto him. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old, and he was circumcised in the flesh out of his foreskin. In the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. 27. And all the men of his house, born in the house and bought with his money of the stranger, were circumcised with him. Now I said before, I think I said Adam was like 99 or 100 when Eve had bore another son or something, and he had the conversation. But I actually might be thinking of Abraham having the conversation, because right here, as y'all saw, he had laughed and said, shall I bear a child at 100? Shall Sarah bear it at 90? So, once it's Sarai, whatever. I forgot to read. These actual headers were 15 was the renewal. 15 was the renewal of the covenant. 16 was the birth of Ishmael. And 17 was the symbol of the covenant. And of course, that was talking about the circumcision and whatnot. So as we go through all those, like I said, pretty much basis background chapters. But as I was telling y'all, that's why if I was Hagar, I wouldn't have went on back. Because like he said, Ishmael low-key got pushed to the side. Isaac got as much as Ishmael got blessed, Isaac was the real one who got blessed. Isaac was the one who got the covenant, as if Ishmael wasn't still Abram's son. Abram would neither here nor there. So yeah, that's a little crazy to me, but as y'all know, it gets a little crazy in this book. But yeah, that's Genesis chapter 15, 16, and 17. As we pop up next week, we'll get into 18. Love y'all. Bless y'all. Have a great week. Like, subscribe. I'm so sorry. I forgot. Like, subscribe. All that good stuff. Tell your friends to come to Bible study. Come commune. Come convene. Come divulge. Bless y'all. Hope y'all have a great week as we start off 2026. Have a great year. Have a great month. Love y'all. Bye.